there is a roster being put together that could contend in the future. And within a matter of 2 drafts, Brad Holmes has this team at 7th overall. Talk about impressive. You're so used to hearing, well, it's different this time. It's different. We're going to win this time. You have what every team would kill for in the NFL right now. I want to start today on a good note. I want to talk to you guys about something that I think... I've talked to you about Brad Holmes. I've talked to you about Dan Campbell, specifically Brad Holmes and the job he's done, what he's done with the salary cap, what Brad has been able to do in the draft, maneuvering the players he selected. All these things obviously very important for a GM, but you know what? Every once in a while, you don't always have to live and die by this, but every once in a while, boy, it's nice to see some national, I would say not even national, a different perspective. A different perspective this morning into what the Detroit Lions are building. The Lions finished in the top 10 in a Sunday ranking put together by Football Outsiders and ESPN. They finished 7th on the list. What does that mean? They finished 7th on a list of the under 25s. What kind of talent do you have on your team that is under the age of 25 years old? The Lions were 7th. Now, before I get into the details of it and how it's changed under Brad Holmes, think about it from this perspective. If you have a top 7 roster under the age of 25, right? You have one of the 7 most talented teams with players under 25 years old. What does that say about you? You're heading in the right direction. I can expect playoffs soon. You have potential to be a contender. Top 7 out of 32 teams. Now, look, if you go towards the end of the scale, right, some of the older teams in the NFL, you look at the Rams, right, they're going to be a bottom on that list, but they're contending right now. But what this tells you is there is a roster being put together that could contend in the future. And that's where Brad Holmes kicks in. 2020, they ranked 26th on this specific list, 26th. In 2021, 21st. And within a matter of 2 drafts and 2 free agencies, Brad Holmes has this team at 7th overall in these rankings. Talk about impressive. DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Jameson Williams, Aiden Hutchinson. And you know, typically it's my preference not to include the rookies, especially when you haven't seen them play. But you know what? They did. I can live with it. Again, I'm going to say that one more time. And I really, before you even pay attention to what I'm about to say, I really want you to just remember one thing. Name me 3 players off the top of your head under the age of 25 that you were excited about prior to Brad Holmes joining this football team. I'll wait. DeAndre Swift? Okay. TJ Hawkinson? Okay. Anybody else? Anything? Jeff Okudah? Maybe. Coming off an injury going into his first year under Dan Campbell? Maybe you could say Jeff Okudah. But think about it. And now, think about what you have now. You not only do you have DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson still, you have Penei Sewell, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have Jameson Williams, you have Aiden Hutchinson. Boy, this team is trending in the right direction. It just is. And this isn't at the point where, you know, I tried to fight this last year. You guys that have watched the show since August of last year when we started, you know damn well what my opinion was. They were going to be a bad football team. I didn't think they were going to be very good at all. I said 3 wins. So what they ended up with. Not that I'm right. I don't care about that. But the point is, it's not a good team. Not a good roster. They didn't inherit anything special. They didn't inherit cornerstone pieces. No, your GM had to go out and get them. And he did. And I don't blame fans who say, well, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a cornerstone piece. That could be a legitimate second option in an offense for years to come. But then we get to the regular season, right? Everybody wants to talk about the games. Well, Adam, They got to win this many games, or I think they're going to win 10 or 11 or whatever Lions fans think their team is going to win this year. I'm not even here to talk about that. What I'm here to say, though, is do you blame them? Do you blame them? Anybody? I don't. This year, a Lions fan walks up to me in the middle of downtown Birmingham or downtown Detroit, and they tell me, Adam, the Lions are going to win 10 games. Last year, I would have laughed at you and told you to kick rocks. This year, I'm not going to do that. Yes, the strength of schedule does play a role. But excuse me. This is different. I'm sorry, it just is. And I know every year you're so used to hearing, well, it's different this time. It's different. We're going to win this time. I don't even care about your head coach. I love Dan. He's awesome. Hope he works out. I hope he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's a great guy. But I'm not even concerned with him as a coach right now. You have what every team would kill for in the NFL right now. A very, very competent GM. A very good one. One with a lot of upside. One with the savvy to maneuver in the draft without giving much draft capital. A guy who has set up your team now to undergo a process that we saw very similar to the Kansas City Chiefs. And if I told you 2 years from now, at the end of Dan Campbell's third year as the Lions head coach, that they won the division, they were 11-6, let's say, and they had 2 first-round picks that year, and that they would trade up to 10, 8, or 7, or 3, who knows, and they mortgaged a few picks, and they drafted their franchise quarterback of the future, and they were going to sit him for the final year of Jared Goff's contract. I don't know anybody that would even remotely consider being upset about that. I find that fascinating. I find it fascinating. I find it realistic because that's who your GM is. That's what he's produced for you since he's taken over the job here. So ESPN comes out with a quote-unquote top 10 young core poll. ESPN insiders, Football Outsiders put together this list together. And the Lions fell at 7, which I found super interesting because some of the teams that were ahead of them, I mean, if we're having an honest conversation, the Cowboys came in at number 1. That doesn't surprise me given the talent of Micah Parsons. I believe they're overvaluing Trayvon Diggs, but you know what? I can respect the list. I know why they put it together. The Chargers, Jets, Falcons, Dolphins, and Jaguars all finishing from 2nd to 6th. Look, the only way you put the Jaguars, in my opinion, ahead of the Lions is because of the quarterback. That's it. No other reason. Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, Travis Etienne, some nice pieces. I can respect it. I believe they have Devin Lloyd as well. Utah linebacker this year, rookie. But I'm not here to argue about the rankings. I think rightfully so the Chargers are 2. They have Justin Herbert. That quarterback makes all the world. The Jets, I could argue, have the premier abundance of top under 25 talent. Zach Wilson, this prior draft class. Chris Olave now. Drake Jackson, I believe. And Sauce Gardner. Boy, you want to talk about a draft class? You want to talk about talent? They have a lot of talent under 25. The Dolphins, obviously with Tua. Obviously Jalen Waddle. Can't go wrong there. So a lot of these situations, if I were to tell you that the Lions drafted a quarterback this season or last season, I think they would be higher on this list, but that's irrelevant right now. What's relevant is that your GM has put you into the conversation of the next teams that are up and coming. And whether or not you win, that's on your head coach. That's on your coaching staff. That's on, obviously, the players and their development. But coaching really matters in the NFL. So this is no longer a conversation of, will Brad Holmes be able to bring talent to the table for the Detroit Lions? I think he will be, and it's not even a question. Having said that, I don't recall this young of a team in terms of its potential core, maybe since Ziggy and Ndamukong Suh. I'm pretty sure Stafford was a year or two over 25 during that period. I mean, you can't name me 7 players like you have now under 25 that you're excited about. So yeah, I find this super interesting. So when Lions fans tell you, I think they're a 9-win team, I think they're a 10-win team, I don't sit there and say you're crazy. You have talent. You have talent. Do I think it's a year early? I do. I do. Harrison Metzler says, Nick Wright thinks the Jaguars will have a better season than the Lions. Harrison, you know what? That's not totally out of the realm of possibility. If I told you Trevor Lawrence had a breakout season, similar to Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or some of the other quarterbacks we've seen develop, do you say no to that? I wouldn't. In arguably the weakest division in the AFC, I'd go along with that. I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy. You look at the Chargers, Rashawn Slater, Asante Samuel Jr., Justin Herbert, obviously. Talent. Lots of talent. It's just, this is where it gets. This is where it gets to the point where you're this close. You're this close to becoming a successful team. How successful? Time will tell. But the roster is getting there. The talent is there. The development so far we've seen from this head coaching staff, they've done a good job. This coaching staff has developed players. We've seen Jerry Jacobs. We've seen Awarie. We've seen even to an extent, I don't want to sit here and say the safety's improved because I believe they got way too many tackles last year because how awful the linebacking core was. But still, you saw improvements, especially individually for players. You didn't see many players regressing as the season went on. You saw them struggle early, notably Jared Goff, notably the entire wide receiving core, including Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then a few weeks go by after the bye, and everything changes. I like to see improvement. Do I think you're a 12, 13-win team? I don't. I think it's early. I think you're a year early from contending for the division. But if you told me the Lions were an 8-9 football team, I would take a few $100 and I would throw it blindly, thinking that's a wild card spot because I believe 8-9 this year is good enough to get you in the NFC wild card. It just is. It just is.